Hello beautiful people of the internet, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my story, well, one of them. I mentioned the story and the characters in some of my previous videos, and I wanted to talk more about them, especially if I'm going to be posting about the characters. I suppose you should know about the world. Now, some of this stuff I can't really get into because of spoilers, and I want to release this story, at least one of them, within the next 3 years as a trilogy, and so I can't really get into it. But I can talk about some of the history and world building stuff, so you have a little bit of an idea of the universe and sort of things like that. So, without further ado, a long time ago, the one who oversees the universe, or just the overseer, dropped a single ember from their fireplace. The ember formed into a golden nebula that lies at the center of their galaxy. From the nebula, the founders came forth. The founders were the first people to exist in the galaxy. There are 4 officially recognized founders: Itomiya, Mare, Igami, and Casted. Their names are the words for their domains. For example, Itomiya means King of the Heavens or Skies, depending on context, so he rules over all creatures and things of the sky. Mare means Protector of the Seas, so she rules over the seas and all creatures that live in them. Igami means Life Giver of the planet, essentially, so his domain is all things that live on the ground, like nature, plants, animals, all that stuff. Casted means Ruler of the Sleeping Worlds, kind of. That's sort of a loose translation, but so their domain's a little bit different. They're the ruler of all dreams and nightmares, kind of like the dream world. It's a bit hard to explain, so I hope that makes sense. Igami also has a sister named Alua, who also came out of the nebula, but isn't recognized as a founder for mysterious story reasons. So, each of the founders were also given a fraction of the Overseer's creation ability, so they each created a race of people. Itomiya created a totally bizarre race you probably have never heard of, called humans? I don't know, man. I have no idea what those are. Mare created Marians, a half-human, half-aquatic, sort of amphibious species that you might have seen before. Coral, Lorelei, Pearl, Kai, Dorian and Reef, and Opal as well, are all Marians. And Igami created sprites and avians. Sprites are kind of like fairies, but can change size from a tiny fairy-like size to a human size. Avians are part birds and have large wings that they use to fly, obviously. You may be asking, why did Igami make a flying species when his domain is what lives on the ground and Itomiya's is what flies in the sky? Well, viewer, that was 100% to spite Itomiya. One of the many things that led to the broken table. I'll get into that in a second. Casted made Castians. Castians are elf-like people who have purple skin and can shapeshift. They also have strong lungs and can breathe in smoke, carbon monoxide, sulfur, and stuff like that, and be perfectly fine. Callum, who is a character I draw a lot, is a Castian. After that, they all started having kids and stuff, and eventually led to the creation of the Guardians. The Guardians are a protective race that could guard the galaxy and control certain aspects to make sure everything stays on track. On track of what, you may be wondering. But that's spoilers, so... Each Guardian is the sole protector of a single area, so Itomiya and Mare's kids, deceit and death, are protectors of those things. And the same with each of the founders' kids and grandkids, and so on. And the founders' names, if you may be wondering, became synonymous with their domains, so that's why they don't have adjective or noun names like the rest of the Guardians. The Guardians are essentially the ruling figures of the galaxy, since the Overseer makes no contact with anyone. except they occasionally give pieces of information to Itomia and Mare. Because of their special connection to the Overseer, Itomia and Mare are seen as the supreme rulers of the galaxy, and almost all the other Guardians follow their lead. Igami lives practically off the grid in a pocket dimension that Omen, one of his kids, set up for him. The Guardians live in a planet in the middle of the nebula, a small planet around the size of our moon. There aren't too many Guardians, they don't need a large planet. And not all Guardians live on the planet. Death lives in the Paradise, which is basically their heaven and protects it from wanderers, hoping to sneak in with plans for revenge. I mentioned this in my last sketchbook tour, but wanderers are basically people who have died, but have been cursed by Itomia and forbidden from entering Paradise. They did bad stuff throughout their lives for this to happen to them, so that they 100% deserve it, don't worry. So after all of this, the founders had a large disagreement, the details of which are kind of spoilers, and if they weren't, they'd be much too complex to get into here anyways. But the founders have all eventually split ways and refused to work together as they had for so many centuries. But Alua's daughter, Kaya, eventually reformed what has been came known as the Broken Table, and the founders were once again whole. She made a special key out of pure Moonstone as a symbol of the unity that had been reestablished. Supposedly, it was supposed to lock away the thing that caused the founders to fracture, but no one knows just what that is. The key itself has also been lost after Kaya's death and has never been seen again. I'm going to talk briefly about the magic system as well, because the Guardians directly influence it. So the colors are very important in this world. The colors you wear directly tell what magic you have. Most societies have a specific guardian they're loyal to, and like Marians are loyal to Bear, obviously. So most kids go through a certain ceremony when they're younger, where they swear loyalty to their guardian and receive magic. Like if you swore loyal to Mare, you get like water-based powers, or Igami, you would get nature-based powers. Does that make sense? There's no one power that when you swear loyalty, but there's a theme that your magic would follow. And wearing the color of your guardian gives you a boost of power. So, of course, each guardian has their own power. And you can't swear loyalty to more than one guardian, especially if they are, like, opposite sides of morality, I guess, or, like, warring. Like, you wouldn't be able to swear loyalty to Itomia and Deceit, or whatever. And no mortal has magic before their ceremony. You have to swear loyalty to get the magic, essentially. Now, important characters to note. Casted, one of the founders that went rogue. Kaya, who made a very, very special key. Deceit, who thinks he's invincible and is also the greatest thing to happen to the universe. He isn't. Omen, a prophet who left the nebula after a vision gone wrong. And Coral, a Marian who has magic without having to swear loyalty. Now let's get into the main story, the Moonstone Key Chronicles. I'm currently writing a trilogy for this, as I said, so I won't get into it, son. But I'll give you the gist. Coral Nadir is the commander of the Marian Space Force on her home planet, Mare. After a mission under her command went wrong and it resulted in the death of all of her pilots, Coral has developed severe PTSD. She attends court-issued therapy, which she attends unwillingly. Her mother, Queen Minimvera, wants to promote her to a high position in the Space Force. Right before the ceremony, Coral runs away and flies off from the planet because she doesn't want this responsibility. But after a PTSD-triggered panic attack, she crashes on the moon of Mare, Kessa, where she discovers a peculiar key made of pure Moonstone. With help from her sisters, Pearl, Lorelei, and Kai, Coral is trying to return the key to Igami so she doesn't have to deal with it. Igami the planet, not the person. But the key has almost a mesmerizing quality to it, and Coral isn't sure she even wants to let it go. And of course, there is more characters and more stories, like Ayla, who I wrote a novella about. I scrapped it, but the idea is still canon. Or Seraphina, who I eventually want to write a series about, and Deceit and Phoenix, who eventually I will make a comic about. But getting into all those is, of course, spoiler territory, so I'm going to keep all those under wraps for now. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope the certain aspects of my story make a little bit more sense now. You can ask questions in the comments if you want, and I will be happy to answer as much as I can without spoiling certain areas. I will, even if it is spoilers, I will try to give some sort of answer to it, of course, avoiding certain things that are spoilers. Well, I guess thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you stick around if you like my story or want to, I don't know, you like my art, want to hear more about my characters, all of that stuff. I have another story that eventually I want to talk about on this channel as well, but this is my main story that I will talk about the most. As I said, hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Comment any questions and subscribe. I upload every other week and we have fun here. If you want to, no pressure, of course. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Bye!